Oh my God. You guys, hold on to your teacups because what just happened inside Buckingham Palace is straight out of a royal soap opera. Except this time, it's real, cold, and absolutely devastating. This isn't the usual tabloid whisper or another cheeky rumor floating around. This is the palace itself, the centuries-old fortress of monarchy finally breaking its icy silence. And the shockwaves? They're shaking the royal world to its core. For years, literally years, people have been whispering, speculating, questioning Meghan and Harry's kids, Archie and little Lilibet. Were they really royal heirs? Why didn't they appear like William and Kate's children did, all dressed up in matching cardigans and beaming for the cameras? Why was there always this veil of secrecy around them? The palace stayed mute while the world obsessed. Rumors piled up like an avalanche. But the palace? Stone-faced, silent, until now. And when the crown finally moved, it didn't come with some press conference or a warm sit-down chat on velvet sofas. No, honey, it came down like a guillotine, swift, cold, and utterly final. We're talking documents, legal, constitutional, ironclad, the kind of paperwork that can erase your name from history with just one signature. Sources close to the palace say it's already done. Not drafts, not suggestions, not "we'll see." Final orders. And what they mean is brutal. Archie and Lilibet are out. Their claim to royal identity? Gone. Wiped clean. Here's the part that makes it even more jaw-dropping. This wasn't some personal grudge or a petty family feud. The monarchy isn't a reality show. It's an ancient machine and it runs on rules older than most countries. To understand why the palace swung this axe, you have to rewind all the way to 1917. Europe was in chaos. War was tearing the continent apart, and King George V was terrified that the royal bloodline could be diluted, confused, or tainted by outsiders. So he issued something called the Letters Patent, a cold, emotionless legal decree that defined once and for all who gets to call themselves prince or princess. The rules were icy clear. You must be of legitimate royal blood. Your birth must be officially recognized and recorded by the crown, and, this is crucial, you must be formally tied to the Church of England. No exceptions, no shortcuts. For over a century, this legal fortress has guarded the monarchy's bloodline like an iron wall. And when the palace quietly looked at Archie and Lilibet's records, do you know what they saw? Cracks. Not gaping holes, not scandals, but little fractures that broke the sacred chain. Their births, their paperwork, even their supposed ties to the church, none of it lined up perfectly. So from the moment they were born, the countdown had already started. The royal machine was waiting, and now it's moved. Let's talk about Archie. In 2019, Meghan and Harry's firstborn arrived to joyful cheers, flashing cameras, and glowing headlines. It all looked perfect, but hidden in the paperwork was the first red flag. On Archie's original birth certificate, Meghan was listed under her full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle. Totally normal. But then, out of nowhere, the certificate was altered. Her name was erased, gone. In its place, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Excuse me, what? Birth certificates are not Instagram bios, they're permanent legal records. You don't just edit them like a caption. Meghan later claimed the palace forced her to change it. Palace aides denied it. Fingers pointed, accusations flew, and no one backed down. And in that chaos, a sinister question was born. Was this just about appearances, or was it about forcing Archie into the royal record in some technical way? Whatever the reason, the damage was done. The entry that was supposed to mark his historic place was suddenly messy, contested, and tainted with doubt. And once doubt creeps into royal records, it spreads like cracks in glass. Fast forward to 2021. Meghan gives birth to their second child, little Lilibet Diana, and this time the palace barely blinked. No official announcements from Buckingham, no royal doctors giving statements, no ceremonial baby photos wrapped in royal blankets on the palace steps. Instead, a sleek press release from sunny California. And for royal watchers, that silence screamed louder than any words. Because for centuries, royal births were historic events. Witnessed, documented, recorded down to the tiniest detail. They weren't just babies, they were symbols of the monarchy's future. But with Lilibet, nothing. It was like the monarchy turned its back. It felt deliberate. Like the palace was quietly saying, she's not ours. And if that didn't send chills down your spine, what came next absolutely did. Months later, Meghan proudly announced that Lilibet had been baptized in California. She spoke about the joyful ceremony, the beautiful photos, the glowing happiness. But behind the palace walls, the whispers began. Because here's the bombshell. The Church of England never recognized that baptism. And that is huge. Because in the monarchy's world, a royal christening isn't just about pretty gowns and holy water. It's the golden key that links the child to the church, the crown, and the entire royal legacy. It officially writes their name into Britain's royal history books. But if the church didn't acknowledge it, then in royal law, it simply didn't count. So instead of securing Lilibet's place, that California baptism actually shattered shattered it. What Meghan thought was a sacred moment, the palace saw as a breach of protocol. And just like that, Lilibet was left in this cold, limbo-like space, celebrated by her parents but invisible to the monarchy. For Meghan, this wasn't just about paperwork. It struck at her very identity. From the day she stepped into the royal spotlight, her entire brand was built on one thing. She wasn't just Meghan Markle, she was Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, a royal mother. And her children? Not just kids, heirs. That royal sheen powered everything. The Netflix deals, the Spotify contracts, the Oprah interviews, even her fancy lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. She wasn't just selling jam and garden picks, she was selling the dream of royalty. But that dream only worked if her children were royal too. If that link snapped, the entire fantasy collapsed. No royal heirs, no royal mother, just a Hollywood couple clinging to a crown that didn't want them anymore. And that thought haunted her, because without that royal link, what made her any different from any other California celebrity with a pretty Instagram grid? But if this shook Meghan's brand, for Harry, it tore open his heart. Sources close to the palace say he spent nights calling back home, back to the very family he had left behind, pleading. His voice wasn't calm or calculated, it was broken, emotional, begging them to reconsider. He believed he could be both, the son who stepped away and the father of children who remained royal. He thought titles came from blood, not behavior. He thought no matter how far California was from London, his children would always carry the Windsor name. But the answer he got? Ice cold. One palace aide allegedly said just one brutal sentence: "This is not about emotion. This is about order, lineage, and the future of the crown." And that was it. Harry's world cracked. He wasn't just estranged from his father and brother anymore. He was watching the institution that gave him his identity erase his children. And then the hammer came down. The palace moved. Quietly, surgically. Archie and Lilibet lost everything. No princely or princess titles, no ceremonial roles, no place in the line of succession, no crown-funded security, no mention in the official royal history books. It might sound small, just words. But in the royal world, titles are everything. They are the keys to legacy. Without them, Archie becomes just Archie. Lilibet becomes just Lilibet. And this wasn't a suspension, this wasn't a pause, this was permanent. The papers were signed, the royal records are already being rewritten, and their names are simply gone. For years, Meghan and Harry wore the badge of royal rebels. Every interview, every documentary, every deal they signed fed that narrative. But here's the cruel twist. You can only be a rebel if the crown still claims you. And the crown understood that. It didn't clap back at their interviews. It didn't rage across the Atlantic. It just waited. Patient, silent, and when the moment was right, it acted like a scalpel, cutting them out clean, removing titles, succession rights, and their last threads to the monarchy. Now Archie and Lilibet aren't rebels. They're not royal exiles. They're simply outsiders. Children who will grow up under the California sun, remembered as Harry and Meghan's, but absent from the pages of royal history forever. And that silence, their absence from the records, will echo louder than any interview or Netflix special ever could. And that, darling, is the finale. Years of speculation, documentaries, whispers, and carefully staged portraits, all answered by Buckingham Palace with a single, silent, devastating stroke of a pen. The palace chose protocol over personalities, order over emotion, legacy over love. For Meghan and Harry, the fallout is catastrophic. Their empire, their identity, their brand, built entirely on being royal rebels, has collapsed. Because once the crown erases you, you're not a rebel anymore. You're just gone. Archie and Lilibet will live their lives wrapped in their parents' love, far from the palaces and pageantry. But in the official royal history, the history that outlives everyone, they will not exist. And that silence, that empty space where their names should have been, is more brutal than any public scandal. It's final. It's forever. And it is, without a doubt, the coldest move Buckingham Palace has ever made. The moment word leaked about Buckingham Palace's secret move, it was like dropping a bomb in the middle of the royal world. The news didn't just ripple, it exploded. Inside the palace walls, courtiers stayed stone-faced, as if nothing had happened. No comments, no statements, just the eerie silence of centuries-old portraits watching from the walls while the monarchy quietly rewrote its own bloodline. Rumors say Meghan has already summoned her legal team, that high-powered lawyers are poring over the old letters patent, searching for any loophole, any fragile crack in that 1917 fortress of royal law. One day they'll learn. One day they'll read the history books and notice their names missing where they were supposed to be. And when that day comes, will they resent the palace for erasing them? Or resent their parents for letting it happen? So here we are, a family torn in two. A monarchy that chose protocol over love. Two children caught in a war they never started. For Meghan and Harry, everything they built, Every headline, every interview, every image they crafted of being royal rebels has collapsed because once the crown decides you no longer exist, there's nothing left to rebel against. You are not exiled. You are not disgraced. You are simply gone. And that, darling, is the most brutal twist of all. The fairy tale is over. The titles are gone. The palace has spoken, and its silence is louder than ever.